Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Side Quests. My name is Matt, and I'll be your host for this episode's events. I am from Burnout Brighter, a channel dedicated to video games, mental health, and social justice. You can find us over at youtube.com/burnoutbrighter, or if you search up the Burnout Brighter podcast on any podcast network of your choosing, you'll be sure to find us there. We currently have an awesome mental health series going called Mental Health Power Up, where we sit down with doctors and clinicians to talk to them about different topics in mental health, such as depression, anxiety, and abandonment. And we also have a fundraiser going for Guardians Mental Health. They make amazing mental health kits for people in need and send them to them for free. So if you're able to donate, please do so. You'll find all of that information over on my Twitter as well at burnout_Matt, or on our channel page at burnout_pod. We have some fantastic prizes from Xbox Canada and from PlayStation Canada that you might be able to win if you donate. So please do so. And you can also find me over on You, Me, and Capri, where I co-host the PlayStation Drive every week, where we sit down and talk about all things PlayStation. Now, without further ado, today we're going to be talking about a game called Lost Words Beyond the Page. And this was developed by Sketchbook Games, published by Modus Games. It came out on Stadia actually back in March of 2020, and then eventually came to Switch, PC, PS4, and Xbox One on April 6th, 2021. And it is also now on Game Pass, so you have plenty of opportunities to check out this incredible game. Lost Words Beyond the Page is one of my favorite games ever for a few different reasons. One of which is that it deals with very difficult topics surrounding mental health and surrounding loss and grief. It puts you in the shoes of a young girl who's dealing with grief and with loss. And it does so in a few different ways. One of which is half of the game takes place in her diary. You'll have the main character narrating as she's kind of going through her feelings and going through everything that she is. You'll be jumping across the actual words on the page, turning the diary into like this platforming endeavor as you're feeling everything that she's doing. And you'll have this like watercolor splash pages that will just completely go all over the screen. It's beautiful, and it's intimate, and it's just incredibly written without ever losing that childlike innocence. And the other half of the game takes place in a fantasy world that she creates as you kind of journey onwards to try and figure out what's going on in the land and what's happening. Both of these sides of the game kind of blend together as you flip back and forth from the diary and back into this magical world that the main character has created. It's hard. It's really hard, and not for the reasons you'd expect. The difficulty entirely comes from the narrative. Listening to Izzy, who's the main character, go through everything that she's going through as she moves through the different stages of grief. It broke my heart over and over again, because I mean, we've all been there, and if we haven't, we all will be there at some point, dealing with the loss of someone important to us in our own lives. And she doesn't always understand it. She doesn't always understand why things are happening, or why she's left out of certain conversations, or how she's supposed to go on when all of this is over, because she's a child. That part of it makes it much more difficult, because, you know, if you're dealing with an adult, they at least have the understanding and the knowledge of how life plays out. But with her childlike wonder almost, it's a welcome escape every time you go back to that magical world that she creates, because you know that as soon as that chapter is over, you're going to be going back to the diary, dealing with a lot of topics that are just incredibly hard. I cried pretty much every single time that we went back to the diary section, just because it's not easy. You know, death is a hard thing to deal with, and hearing Izzy go through everything that she goes through, it takes a lot out of you. And you know, the voice acting and the writing is just so on point the entire way through that you really grow to almost, I don't know, I would both be looking forward to and both be dreading the next diary section, while, like, you know, the magical world side of it is really beautiful. It's bright, it's colorful, and each chapter of that magical world really goes along thematically with what Izzy is going through in real life on the diary side. And it's intricately woven together, and it's incredible. And I think one of the main reasons why this game resonated with me so much is just because it's beautiful. If I can think of one word to describe this game, is it's beautiful. And like I said, that doesn't mean that it's easy. That doesn't mean that the subject matter can't be tough. But every time you turn a corner, there's something beautiful and incredible to see. The way that the graphics and the artwork and the story and the narrative and the voice acting and just everything comes together in such a satisfying and massive way that by the time that you're done with the story, it's almost like a cathartic experience. It leaves you thinking and wondering, and it leaves you in a position of just this catharsis. I finished the game and just had to sit there for a couple minutes. I would be playing it because we were reviewing it for our channel, and I just couldn't stop. And, my wife would look over at me and she says, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to do this? And it was just, no, I need to see this through. I need to be on this journey with Izzy in every step of the way. And, I played this game when I was living overseas. I played this game when I was very separated from my friends and family, when I was living abroad in South Korea. And I had heard about how, I had family members who maybe weren't doing as well as they were when I left. And that's a difficult thing to talk about. And that's a difficult thing to understand. So kind of going through it alongside Izzy just really locked this game in as one of my favorites of all time. And I don't know if I'll return to it anytime soon. And I don't know if it's a game that I'll replay often, just because it is very much an emotional experience all the way through. But because of that, it stays with me. It's a game that I think about often. It's a game that I think deserves to be celebrated, and taking the risks that it does with its narrative by just the way that everything comes together. I think Lost Words is one of those games that needs to be played, and it's a game that I think can be enjoyed and understood by just about anyone, anywhere. And those games don't come along often. And when they do, they should be celebrated. Lost Words belongs alongside things like Journey, alongside things like What Remains of Edith Finch, or alongside games that really just stay with you. I played this game and Before Your Eyes back to back, which similarly is another game that deals with loss and deals with the grief. And let's just say there was a lot of crying in my apartment for the week that I went through both of these games. I cannot recommend Lost Words enough. I think it's a game that everyone can learn from. I think it's a game everyone can benefit from playing. It's one of those games that just stays with you and kind of lives inside you, even though you've already finished it or you've already put it down. I wish I could experience it again for the first time, and it's a game that I think I'll come back to when I need it. And it's a game that makes things better by just existing. So please go check out Lost Words Beyond the Page. It is an incredible game, and I don't think you'll regret it. If you want to hear more from me, please come check us out over at youtube.com/burnoutbrighter or over on twitter.com/burnout_Matt. I appreciate your time very, very much, and we will see you on the next one. Happy gaming.
Before the Wicked Witch of the West and those gals from Salem, there was Circe, the captivating and kind of catastrophic Greek witch who did more than just turn men into pigs.
I'm Rose.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Gloria.
Join us this fall on Circling Circe, the podcast where we talk about Madeline Miller's incredible book, Circe.
We go through the novel chapter by chapter. We laugh, we cry from laughing. We swoon over Daedalus and other Greek hotties and talk way too much about food, life, and scented candles.
I'm hydrated. I'm ready. I'm
You're
pumped
ready.
to talk about Greek gods and titans.
Let's do this.
Lasagna is not supposed to be cool. It's supposed to be eaten hot, stupid.
Who just looked at a cow and was like, hey, sexy, moo right over here. Like,
It's 11:45. I need to go eat my liver.
my Prometheus pate.
And Granny's like, get out!
We post every Wednesday, so mark your calendars
Make like Scylla.
Grab a sailor.
and dive in.
Find Circling Circe on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Do we want to do an outro? Or
Yeah.
Is that your outro?
That's it.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.